If you've been arrested for a DUI in Cook County, and your case is scheduled to go to one of the municipal court houses in Cook County, like Skokie or Rolling Meadows or Maywood or even Bridgeview or Markham, you should call us immediately. It's very important to preserve your rights if you've been arrested for a DUI. Typically, what happens on a DUI is that you will be given a ticket, several tickets, and you will be given a notice of summary suspension. That notice of summary suspension is the legal device where the Secretary of State will try to suspend your license for anywhere between 1 year and 3 years upon them giving you that. That suspension does not start for 46 days. So that's why it's important that you call us immediately, because what we can do is the first day after the arrest, we've even filed some of these petitions on the same day as the arrest, but you want to get in touch with us immediately so that we can draft the petition to rescind and try to fight. We file it with the court, and that basically starts a clock that works against the state. So there's a 46-day clock that works against you. That's when they're going to try to suspend your license. And what we do is we file this petition to rescind immediately to try to get a 30-day clock ticking. If those 30 days elapse, or the first court date goes by, and the state's attorney or the local prosecutor cannot move forward on their hearing, or if the Secretary of State hasn't complied with the document requests or processed the suspension, we can rescind your suspension. We've been able to beat suspensions on people that refused. We've been able to beat suspensions for people who blew, all the way up to a .45, which is the max the machine can go. So just because you did a breathalyzer doesn't mean you shouldn't try to file the petition to rescind. It's the first thing I do, and I always tell people, if you were in my family, if you were my brother or our daughter, what would I do? The first thing I would do is I would file that petition to rescind, and then we would subpoena the records and the videos and all of the police reports from the prosecuting authority. As long as you get that filed, you have a chance. And that's the difference between us and other firms. Other firms, if you do a breathalyzer, they say, don't worry about it. We're not going to file the petition to rescind. You can't win if you don't try. I'm not guaranteeing that we can win every time, but if you don't try, you can't win it. So that's the number one thing you have to do when you get arrested for a DUI. And in Cook County especially, once we resolve that suspension in court on typically the first court date or the second court date, then we move on to the criminal case. And that's when we look through the details of the case, whether or not we can beat it beyond a reasonable doubt. And we've won hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trials. We have tried hundreds of cases. We've represented people thousands of times over the past 20 years with our firm, and the entire goal is success. We try to minimize damage. We've had people who've had immigration issues. We've had people who've been in traffic accidents. We've had doctors, lawyers, nurses. If you have any licensing issues, or even CDL drivers, or if you don't have any of the above, it's important to get an attorney to fight for your rights. And these cases do take some time, but we can effectively represent you. And again, the goal is always to try to get a successful result to help win your case or minimize damage as much as we can.